Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pits of metal and motor chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got a line special guest for the top alcohol. Well, you're injected with nitro too, right?
Yep, A-Fuel.
Yeah. APO Dragster driver Will Smith. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing well, Dave. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So how's
Thanks
it?
for having me on tonight.
Oh, no problem, man. So how's the year been going so far?
We've actually been having a really good year. Started out a little shaky when we went to Columbus, the first North Central Regional event back in May. We DNQ'd there, and which everyone was plagued with weather that weekend, and we had one shot to get in, and we just missed it. So, but after that, we followed up with a runner-up finish in Norwalk at the next regional event, and just been rolling ever since. We've run 6 races. I've been to 2 finals, both runner-up each of those times, and made it to the semis at the last 2 races, matter of fact. So really happy with how we're running, and definitely the year is going a lot better than we had last season.
Yeah, I know you did pretty good at Route 66.
Yeah, we ran really well there. A couple of weeks ago at the regional, came out off the trailer and went a 30 on Friday. That put us number 2 and kept us number 2 all weekend. And we tried a few things in the last 2 qualifying runs, and didn't quite work out the way we wanted. So we went back to the drawing board where we started out and won first round that night. Ran a 38, a decent run. And then came out in the semis on Sunday and had starting line advantage, and we were knew I needed that against Troy, and those guys run really well, and we just went out and smoked the tires and ended our day. But the guys did a great job. Dave's done a great job calling the shots all season. So we're excited. We feel we've got a car that we know we can run with anybody out there, and we're definitely running more consistent than we have been, and we've just been trying a lot of things, and we don't want to run in the middle or bottom half of the pack. We want to be at the top. So we've been throwing everything we've had at it, and now we really feel like we've got a good combination that we know can win races. That's what we're looking for, and we're looking to grab that first Wally together, my team and I, and so we're excited. We're getting ready for Bowling Green coming up end of August, and then we'll follow that up. That's another regional event, and we'll follow that up with the prestigious U.S. Nationals down in Indianapolis. So really excited to go to Indy. So we've got our sights set on that Wally, that U.S. Nationals Wally, and we're going to see if we can get it done.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty exciting, man, working for David Hirata, man.
Dave is a very, very, very good friend of mine. He's my bro, We joke around. He's old enough to be my dad. It's kind of an inside joke with all that, but no, it is a joy. It is an honor to work and drive for Dave and his parents, Mr. Kenny and Miss Chio. They are great, great people. As I grew up, I not only followed obviously all the pro drivers as a kid, but I followed all the sportsman racers as well, and I was always followed the alcohol categories very closely. And Dave was always one of my favorite, A-Fuel guy out there. I mean, he was cool. They had a fast car. They run, really well everywhere they went. Won a lot of races, and I learned more about his family and his dad and his mother's history within our sport and where they come from, and they have just a great story. And I met Dave years and years and years ago, and we just kind of hit it off and became friends, and our relationship grew, and now I'm having the opportunity to drive for he and his parents. I mean, it's like a fairy tale, you know what I mean? Sometimes I pinch myself, I wake up from this dream, but it's a great, great deal. I mean, like I said, it's an honor to drive for him, and they're great people.
Oh yeah, his dad Kenny's a legend in drag racing.
He is, and fortunately, I have the opportunity to work with him every day in the pit there at the shop. And 91 years old, I haven't seen anybody quite like him. He is an amazing individual, great guy. Like I said, I'm blessed with the opportunity to work with him. Guy has taught me so much within a year and a half of being with the team. And there's no stopping him. I mean, this drag racing is what keeps him going, and it amazes me how his mind works. And it's like, hey, we go out and run a good, we won a 26 there in Norwalk at the National, and that was a really good run. Everyone was happy with that. And that was my first run in the 20s. But the thing about Kenny, we can go out there and we can go low ET, and then he's going to say, well, it should have run this, or we got to run a little quicker, I mean, he's all about making power and running fast, and he's done a very, very good job through his racing career doing that. He's been very successful.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So now, how much percentage of nitro you guys put in that dragster?
So we're NHRA rules. We're limited to 95% is the maximum. So everybody's usually just a touch under that. Years ago, there were times where they were allowed to run 100%. And that was back when Dave was really getting started in the A fuel category. They ran really well back then, But as times go on and things change, they've implemented new rules, and so that's where we're at right now is 95%.
Now, for you, when did you first begin your drag racing career, and how did you get into drag racing?
Well, so I'm 29 years old, and I've been driving for 21 years. My dad was a drag racer, and I grew up in it. My dad drag raced. He and my mom started taking me to NHRA national events before I was 2 years old, and I just took a liking to it, a love to it at an early age, and it's always been my passion and always will be. And I eat, sleep, and breathe drag racing, and I did it 2 years old, and I do it 29. And it was funny because, I just followed the sport so closely. I followed all the drivers, all the teams, all the crew chiefs. And when I was 2 years old, or around 3, was when the Junior Dragsters came out in 1992. And I had told my dad, when I saw the first one, I'm like, I want to do that, and at that time you had to be 8 years old before you could do it. My dad's and mom both said, you keep your grades up, you do well in school, and you're be a good kid and whatnot, we'll get you one, So my dad will tell you, he's like, kind of thought he'd grow out of it, but he's like, he got more into it. So when I started school and was doing well and was always on the honor roll, and so he couldn't back out. He made me a deal, and we started racing when I got my car when I was 8, started competing the very next year when I just turned 9. It was 1999. I ran junior dragsters for 10 years. Me and my parents had a blast doing that. We had a lot of success. We won a lot of races, and it really helped it paved the way to where I'm at right now. And it just, not only that, it helped me obviously become the person I am. And, it teaches you good sportsmanship and knowledge about racing and learning how to race. You know what I mean? So when you're able to make the next step into a faster car, a big car for the first time, you've just got to acclimate yourself to the speed and acceleration of that faster machine, but the fundamentals are all the same. And so I did those for 10 years, and when I graduated high school. That was the last year I could compete in juniors. And my mom and dad told me, hey, we're going to put you through college, and we're going to do that, so we can't afford to go racing anymore for right now. So they said, if you want to keep doing it or go to where you want to be one day, you're going to have to work hard and, find the money and the opportunity, on your own right now, and while we put you through college to help you get there. And so I took basically all the money I had in the bank and what money I got from graduating high school. I invested that money and went to Frank Hawley's drag racing school right out of high school. That was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I earned my Super Comp and Super Gas license while I was there. I was told I did very well by, jumping right into a big car, so to speak. And what I learned there, was just, not only did it teach me so much on the track, it taught me a lot off the track. It taught me a lot about myself. I learned a lot about business. It was just a great thing that I did to help make me a better driver, a better racer, just an all-around better person. And so backing up a little bit, when I was 14, I started working for Steve Johnson, an HRA Pro Stop motorcycle rider. And I went to Steve, met Steve, and just, he saw my drive, saw my passion for the sport, and my passion and drive to succeed. And ultimately, wanting to get in the driver's seat. And man, that guy helped me in so many ways, get my start at a professional level at such an early age. And, he taught me a lot about the business side of drag racing, the personal branding, of yourself. I just learned so much. And I earned my bachelor's degree in marketing at the University of Alabama. And the reason I got into marketing was going straight back to Steve Johnson, and I developed a plan at an early age, and he, helped me with that. And so I got my feet wet really early working for, a high profile team at an early age. And I did that voluntarily. And I later went on a couple of years after that. I started working for the Awesome Motorsports Pro Mod team, which consisted of Shannon Jenkins and Mike Castellana. They later teamed up with the Alan Abbey racing team. So I worked for them for about 10 years. Had a very good, successful stint working for those guys. Learned a lot. Ended up being team manager of the team, so I got to do a lot of business things, in regards to that race team, as well as crew on the car too. Then I went on to become the marketing manager at their sister company, Speedtech Nitrous. I did that for 3 years, and then I ended up quitting there to go work full-time for the PDRA, the Professional Drag Racers Association, in which I currently still work there full-time, and I'm the marketing director for them. So I've been very fortunate and blessed to have made a career in drag racing thus far. I hope I'm able to, continue that. But I, made a lot of sacrifices along the way. But man, I had so many people to help me, to help educate me, and help give me opportunity along the way. And it's always been my goal to race full time, and that's what I'm, fortunately getting to do now, and hopefully working into that more. But I want to be able to turn around and give it back to someone else, that hopefully I'm in a position one day, as Steve Johnson and as Mike Castellana and as Dave Hirata and all these guys who have helped me. I want to be able to do that for a youngster coming up one day.
The gift of knowledge, huh?
What's that?
The gift of knowledge.
Yep. And I couldn't have done it without any of them. My parents, and they've helped me in so many ways. And man, it's just, I have spent 21 years of actual driving, but been in the sport for, my whole life. And, when I tell people I've been driving 21 years, they think I'm, 45 or 50, which some say I look that anyway. I'm not really sure why, but
Yeah.
I've been very, very blessed to have these opportunities, that's for sure.
So now, after working with all these different teams, the Hirata Motorsports is the first vehicle you started driving after Junior Dragsters?
So I've done a lot of bracket racing since. I have my own little bracket car back at home. When I went to Qatar a couple of times when I worked for Allen Hobbies, I got to drive, a bunch of dragsters and stuff over there. Got to do a lot of testing for those guys. A lot of people don't know I was really close to getting on a pro stop motorcycle to ride about 6 years ago. I had some opportunities in front of me that um, that presented themselves, and I made another investment and went to George Bryce's school, which was partnered with Frank Hawley. Um, that was one heck of an experience. I was really had no experience on two wheels, but I was definitely up for it, and I definitely wanted to try it. And so I tried my hand at that, and that went very well. But some financial situations along the way got in the way of sealing the deal, so to speak. But that's how it goes. And but to this day, I will say that Pro Stop motorcycle was old. I shouldn't say it was more challenging than the Safe Fuel car. I guess it was just a different deal, different animals for me. It was pretty challenging, but anything burning nitro is what I enjoy. So
Now, for you, do you ever have any dreams of going top fuel one day?
absolutely, that's been my goal since 2 years old. I told my parents that's one day I want to drive a top fuel dragster. And the older I've gotten, the more and more I'm like, man, I'd like to try my hand at a fuel funny car as well. That is definitely my goals and aspirations to wheel one of those cars one day. But I back up. I got to back up and say this because it is so tough to race at this level, and I knew that coming into it. And like I said, I've got some great people that have helped me. I've got some great marketing partners behind me to help make this possible financially. But it's a struggle to do this, at this level. And I knew that coming into it. I didn't come from a family with a lot of money or anything like that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I've had to just work, to try to get here and do this. And I said to several of my prolific peers within the NHRA along the way that have helped me that I just want to be out there on that stage and qualify for a national event one day. And I said, if I'm good enough to be there and qualify, I'm good enough to win. And that speaks for all the other 15 drivers or 20 or however many's there. I says, if I can have my chance just one time and qualify at a national event, that's when Will Smith can say he made it, And I accomplished that. And fortunately, I did that in my first national event appearance at Joliet last year for the Route 66 Nationals. And we came off the trailer and were number one qualifier after the first session and run 280 miles an hour, which held up for top speed of the meet. And then here I am, got a grin you couldn't even wipe off my face because not only did we qualify, we ran fast, we went to the quarterfinals. I'm like, hey, I'm 29 years old and I just accomplished everything I wanted to do in life. How cool is that? So I look at it as, I've had people say, well, you guys had a tough year last year. And, I learned a lot last year. I think we had a great year. We started with a new team. We had a new team, new engine combination, so many new things, and it was a building year. And look, we're running very well. Very pleased with the results. And so many people are telling me, "said Man, you got so close. You're going to get that Wally soon," and I sure hope so. And I want to get it for my team. It's not nothing for me. It's not me being selfish. I want it for my team because they all work so hard. Dave and Kenny, his parents, they love this stuff and they work so hard at it. I want to win for them. That's what it's about. But I tell myself, I'm like, I'm not going to get caught up and get all upset that we haven't won yet, because we've won in so many ways. We've been so successful as a team, and I'm very happy with it. I keep telling myself, backing up to my main goal, hey, it's accomplished. Anything after that's a bonus. If we're able to take a Wally or a couple of them home by the end of the year, awesome. Because I hope we do that for our team and our great sponsors that are behind us. That's who I want to win for. But when you really put it in perspective, it's just great to be here and to be trying every week.
Now, who are all the sponsors for the Dragster?
So, first and foremost, we couldn't do it without any of our marketing partners, and everybody. We appreciate the support, and Dave's had some marketing partners that have been involved with Hirata Motorsports, and of course I have partners that come with me, and Lucas Oil, NGK Spark Plugs. They've been with Dave for many years. They are a great asset to our team and a great contributor to the performance that we're able to do week in, week out. Scapel Buick GMC and Cadillac, a dealership in Maryville, Indiana. Tom's been a longtime partner of Hirata Motorsports. Great guy. Loves drag racing. It's just a perfect fit with our team. Our new partners we got on board this year, 4G Transportation. That's a local trucking company back in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is where I'm from. We welcome them on board. They've been a great partner to have this year with Danny Goix and his team and his family that own that trucking company. I'm doing a lot of things for them to help grow their brand, their presence back in the Southeast. Tico Geophysical came on board this year. Mark Teague is the owner. That company is a very specialized company to where they do. They offer a lot of utility services, locating and mapping. They have devices called GPR, ground penetrating radar, detect what is below the ground, below the surface. Mark Teague is an avid drag racer. We've been friends for a long time, and he's helped me in so many ways over the years. And the timing was right for us to expand on our partnership for this season, and we couldn't be happier. I spoke with him the other day, and he's very happy with the results that we've been able to provide him thus far this year. Pro Things Apparel, Race Ugly Speed Shop, a couple of apparel companies are involved with us that have provided our crew uniforms for this year. They definitely outfitted us in a very cool way this year, kind of a nostalgic look with the black shirt with the bright yellow stripe on it, and our sponsor logos on it. They just did an outstanding job. Jason Allen over at Pro Things, they have a great product. They really, have a styling and profiling this year, and Race Ugly Speed Shop as well, and George Coley over there. They both play a large role in our team this year, so we appreciate their support. And I'll say this: we always have opportunity for more marketing partners. So there's always opportunity to get involved, and I really focus on the B2B marketing. So where we think and work outside the box, off the racetrack as much as we do on the racetrack. So
now, besides the Hiratas, as crew members, who Who are the other crew members that keep this dragster running top performance?
So obviously, first and foremost, as we've talked about, Dave, he's the crew chief of the team. He's our leader, and he does a great job. And of course, his parents. His dad is the power maker, so to speak. He loves building engines, and does a very fine job of that. And she keeps it all together, and she helps pay our bills and everything, and keeps us all in check. So, but set aside from the Hirata family, Byron Inouye and his son Brian Inouye, they work for us. Byron, we call him Phil. Everybody, when they call Byron, I don't know who they're talking about, so I got to call him Phil. But Phil is our cylinder head specialist. We've kept him pretty busy in the past, but this year he's done a great job. He like I said, he keeps all of our heads ready, and fuel and other roles on the car that he does. Brian, he's a young guy like myself. He's a year younger than me. Great kid, got an awesome personality and a passion for drag racing, just like I've got. And he and I are, the best of friends. And he's a great guy. Does a great job on the car. He works the left side of the engine. Ashley Fye, she's our right side engine person. A lot of people know Ashley from the Top Fuel side of things. She's very knowledgeable and experienced on that side of things, so she brought a lot to our team. She does an outstanding job. Like I said, she's very knowledgeable. She works hard. It's just pretty cool watching her work as she gets in there, torquing heads and pulling heads off the motor. I mean, she's pretty dang cool. And I do the bottom end of the engine, so I don't just get to drive. That's the small, clean part of the job, but I do the bottom end. So us three, we really keep the motor going and together. And Dave, going back to Dave, he does the clutch. He's an awesome clutch guy. He's awesome at everything he does on the car. And Molly, Dave's girlfriend, what a just cool person she is. I don't know how any other way to say it. Molly will do whatever we ask her to do, like needed on the car if we need something done. But she keeps us all in check too, keeps us laughing, and she's my backup girl. And boy, do we have some good times. She gets me pumped up, keeps me pumped up on the starting line, and it's just a pleasure to have her there. So we've got a couple other guys that help from time to time throughout the year. Devin and Logan and Larry, a couple of guys that can't make all the races, but they come in and help out when they can. And they'll do whatever's needed on the car. So we all work together. Everyone pretty much do everything on the car. So if someone needs a hand, generally most everyone else knows how to do whatever that job is. And we make it work.
Yeah.
The main thing is, I will say, having the opportunity to work for the teams I have in the past, who have all been great teams and great experiences. This team we have right now, I couldn't be more happy with. I mean, they are great people. They got a great work ethic. They love drag racing. They all want to be there. That's why we're there. We race hard, but we have a good time doing it, and we're there to win. And I think with all of us having the same common goal, man, it just makes it that much more fun and more successful.
Now, going back to when you were younger, Will, did you have any drag racing heroes when you were young?
Oh man, I had a lot, and I got to tell you, since you brought that up, I will tell you who they were, and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that go along with that. Eddie Hill was my guy, still is. Drove the Pennzoil Top Fuel Dragster. Eddie Hill was my man. Everything I did, like yellow was my favorite color, and that all come from Eddie Hill. And I used to draw pictures of cars, and they were all Pennzoil Dragster. He was my man. And I was very fortunate at an early age, I want to say around 4 or 5 years old. Um, he and his wife Ursi allowed me to come in their hauler, and they took me in there and showed me around. It was just a really cool experience. Um, but as I said, I follow every class. I always have in professional categories as well as sportsman categories. And my favorite funny car guy was Al Hoffman. I mean, that guy was the epitome of a fuel funny car driver, in my opinion. He walked the walk, he talked the talk. I mean, he was just it. I liked his attitude. I liked his appearance. Just that guy was cool. And so he was my funny car guy. But going on to pro stock, and I'll tell you the story about the pro stock deal. I was always a huge Rear Morrison racing fan. And I wasn't born when Shepard was driving, and he passed away before I come along. But I was always a big Bruce Allen fan. And I loved Buddy and Dave out there at Real Morrison. And while working for Awesome Alanabi on the nitrous cars, we were running Rear Morrison engines, and I got to know David. And this day, like, me and David are really good friends, and we'll pick up the phone and call one another just to shoot the bull with each other. And that is so cool because they were one of my idols growing up, and now we're friends. And the same goes for Steve Johnson. Back in the day, in the early 90s, when Steve Johnson was still in California, he was my favorite pro stock motorcycle rider. I just liked him. He was a cool guy. He was a funny guy. He was one heck of a rider. And if he didn't outrun you, he was going to leave on you, and I just liked everything about him. And now, I mean, I work for the guy, worked for him when I was younger, and we're still great friends. And it's just funny how that come on. I already told you the story about Dave, I mean, when I was a young kid and he was starting out in the APO, I'm like, this Hirata guy, he's cool. He looks cool. They got a fast hot rod. They burn nitro. Like, he's the man, And now I'm driving for him. So it's been awesome that my heroes, I've been fortunate to work with some of them. And to this day, I'm able to call them friends, So I've been very, very blessed to have those opportunities. And I cherish those moments that I've had and will have in the future.
Yeah, they're more than friends. They're family. Drag racing's all one big family, man.
Absolutely. And if someone who doesn't understand drag racing will never understand that. But if you understand the slightest little bit about our great sport, or if came out to a race and saw it firsthand, that's I mean, you nailed it. We're all family, it's just a close knit family that, on the racetrack you're running versus competitors. But when you pull a chute and exit the track, and your competitor beats you or vice versa, and it's funny how when you need a hand after that, generally that person or another team or whatever is there to help. And that's what we do.
All right, so now, Will, with the Dragster, what's been the fastest ET you've had with that Dragster?
So going into this year, 5:33 at 280 was my quickest time. I had some new hero cards made up this year, and I put that on my bio section, and Dave's like, "Hey, I hate to tell you, but that's going to change pretty soon." I said, "Well, I hope so." I said, "That's a good that's a good typo to have." So we went to Norwalk for the national event back in June, and we run 5:26 there at 279.79. Just missed 280, but we ran a 26. So the 26 is my quickest so far. That was my first and only run in the 20s thus far, but we've been throwing down some 30 flats since then. So we're going to be back in the 20s pretty soon.
So how was your first time experience, driving this APO Dragster?
So 2 years ago, actually about 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, I licensed in Dave's car down at Indy. And the licensing process went pretty well. I thought Dave had more confidence in me than I had in myself going into it. Not that I wasn't confident in myself, but Dave was like, "Oh, it ain't gonna be no problem. You're gonna do fine," and which I did. But it was a learning experience. Things went well. We didn't hurt any parts or nothing like that. I think I was prepared. My experience in the past had prepared me to make that step to drive that, a fuel car. And from the first few runs, I think 560 was the quickest I went in my licensing process. But I only made 3 runs, and only had to make 3 for an upgrade. And was fortunate that the 3 runs I made were quick enough and good enough to get my license. So that all worked out great. But every run that's come after that, you learn something every pass. I don't care how good you are or how much experience you have. You can take something away from each run. And, I try to keep my mistakes to a minimum. But, all you can do is learn from them. But yeah, it was a great experience. When I really put it in perspective, I'm like, when I was sitting in the car going up there to make the first run, I'm like, you're really actually fixing to do this. I never thought this day would ever present itself to me, and it did. It was a very humbling experience for sure.
So now, what are a few of your favorite tracks to race on?
Obviously Norwalk. Now we've been to 2 finals there this year, so I would love to see every race put at Norwalk. I think we have a good shot at it. But Norwalk's a great service. I really enjoy Indy. Indy's cool because it's Indy, and it's where I got my license, and it's where the U.S. Nationals are. So that's right up there. But I will say every track we run on, they're all great. In my opinion, Joliet, I really like that track. Super nice facility. The staff's there is great. So I'm going to say between those 3, it'd be kind of hard to pick one, but those are my 3 favorites.
Now, what would you consider to be your most memorable race of all time?
I kind of got to give you 2 because I don't know which. Well, runner up there at the national event in June would have to be at the top. But like I said, we also runnered up there at the regional event the month before, which was my first final round. So that was really cool. Being there at the national event, I'm going to say was my greatest moment and experience thus far. Because, like I said, that goes back to what I said earlier. I just dreamed of the day to see my name on an entry list and make an attempt to qualify. Now, I was in the final round, and it really got real when we were towing up down the staging lanes, and Alan Reinhart comes over the PA and says, "Okay, it's finals time." And Alcohol Funny Car was in front of us, and they ran, and then they pulled us in the water, and then they start talking about the Top Alcohol Dragster final, and he mentioned my name, and I'm like, wow, this is really happening. I'm looking out, stands are packed. I mean, I'm like, here we go. This is the final for a national event. I mean, how cool is that? So, thinking on it, I'd have to say up to this point, that's been my greatest thus far.
Now, have you had any accidents in your career so far?
No, knock on wood. There's been a couple times where you get your attention when the car's got the front end up in the air, or it's rattling the tire, and it wants to unload the chassis. And I got a record here that I've had a safe ride thus far all these years, and I hope it continues to go there. But every time we get in these cars, we know they can hurt us. We know they can kill us, and that's the risk we take. But we take. You got to have respect for it, and I have all the respect in the world for them. race car. That was something my dad instilled in me at an early age when I got into juniors first, and it was just something I carried on with me, and I just feel I've had a good understanding of how they run from a mechanical standpoint from being a crewman for so many years that just when it rattles the tire, you gotta be in front of the machine. You gotta be able to get out of it before it's too late, and things like that. And I'm not saying I'm a pro with all of that yet, but Dave has taught me a lot, learned a lot from him, and I just try to do my best and be as safe as possible. I wear every Nomex piece I can under the suit. Got every safety device that we've got to have and some. So, safety is our priority at Hirata Motorsports. I can guarantee you that.
Have you had one most embarrassing moment on the track?
So it's probably been a couple, but yeah, I had a little mishap with staging the car at Norwalk, matter of fact, and we had some issues with the reverser, we had some issues with the brakes, and the brake situation, and struggled with the reverser, and just not making an excuse, but I did a little, I had a little mishap staging the car that cost us a run, and I was really aggravated with myself on that, and really bothered me for the team because we all worked so hard in between rounds to prepare the car, and the car is always prepared, overly prepared. So I'll have to say that should have came last year as a rookie mistake, but it came this year. So I learned from it. We moved on, and knock on wood, haven't had any issues. But yeah, those things come from time to time. You just have to deal with them and do the best you can with it.
Well, Will, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to do so.
You have any final words, thank yous, anything like that you want to do before we close?
I just got to thank everyone that's tuning in and listening, and hearing my story. I got to once again thank Dave and his parents for the opportunity to be a part of their team and to drive their hot rod. I got to thank my great team that's behind us, our whole crew, as I mentioned everyone by name earlier. Got to thank all of our great marketing partners, Lucas Oil, NGK, Escapel, 4G Transportation, Tico, Pro Things, and Race Ugly. We've got some great people behind us, and we're going to try to do the best we can to finish out this year and do the best we can and try to win this regional championship. We're 32 points out of first place right now, and we got our eyes set at the top. So we're going to do the best we can at these final races and see if we can walk away with a trophy at the end of the year.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the season.
Well, I thank you very much.
And thanks again for coming on, and we'll do another one in the future.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, you have a great night, Will.
Right. You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.